Dog's gonna stay out there for the whole hour.
Alrighty, boys. Welcome back to episode 32 of the Monday Morning Quarterbacks Podcast. Top left, we got Josh. Got me in the top right. Big P in the bottom left, and Connor in the bottom right. No Hefe tonight. All good, though. We move on. And let's start it out, boys. How we feeling? Welcome in.
I feel magical today. It's a great day.
It's a great day. Jags lost again.
What are you drinking over there, Josh?
It's a Coors Banquet. This is what cowboys drink because I'm a cowboy. I saw it on Yellowstone. Everyone on Yellowstone drinks it. So I'm thinking about buying a ranch and getting some cattle or something. We'll see.
Like that.
Okay. We had an interesting week in the NFL. Jets finally got on the win track, knocking out Houston, which I feel like we all kind of saw that coming. With our picks, basically, anyway. We had the Falcons knock down the Cowboys. I think Mike McCarthy's definitely getting fired.
Hopefully.
Definitely on the hot seat.
Hopefully.
Bills edged out the Dolphins in a tough one. Real close.
I'm surprised. I thought the Bills were going to dominate like they always do. But maybe Tua's fine. Maybe he doesn't. I don't know. Maybe he's totally fine now.
I mean, the Dolphins just are fully back on offense. A chain is a monster. Tyreek Hill is involved again. Jalen Waddle had -10 receiving. All-time bad beat on Tua passing yards betters because he cleared his line by like 15 yards. And then Jalen Waddle in the last play of the game caught a pass and ran 30 yards backwards.
Dude, I saw
all those
that.
betters lost.
It was like minus 29-yard reception. I was like, whoa.
That is so brutal. Those last play of the games are so scary.
Funniest way to lose.
On the over-unders, on yards, on just all the stats. Bengals smoked the Raiders. Chargers smoked the Browns. P with just an all-time call of if Jameis goes a week without throwing a pick, he's going to throw 3 the next week. He did.
That was sharp.
He did indeed throw 3 picks, and they got smoked. That was great.
Ravens rolled.
Yep.
Chiefs
Ravens.
game was rigged.
Which game was?
The Chiefs game was rigged.
Chiefs game was rigged. Yep.
Chiefs game was rigged.
They win
They tried
no
to tell
matter what. It doesn't matter. Anything that happens, the Chiefs are always going to win.
I've had a lot of sports news on the past 24 hours, and they just can't stop talking about why the Bucs didn't go for 2. It's like the only thing that people are talking about.
That's what they should have. I mean, you got to
should've.
just sack up. When you're clearly not the better
When you're
team
away,
on the road,
yeah.
going against Mahomes, who just doesn't lose an OT, and it also wins the coin flip every single time. You have nothing to lose, and everyone's going to back your decision to go there. Nothing to lose. One play to win it. Go trust in Baker to make a play.
Also, is Baker just that good? Like, he lost Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, and he's still slinging it.
It's crazy.
Slinging it is a great word because he is making some very questionable throws, but he's also slinging that thing.
He's slinging
Like,
it.
he's making plays, but he's also should have probably had 2 or 3 picks in that game.
Has he been this good? Like, he turned 30 and suddenly he's a monster at quarterback? Or is it just the systems he was in before? Or both?
A little bit of both, probably, honestly.
Both. Yeah.
It's crazy.
I'm trying to see. Panthers, I mean, who really cared about that game, but they got a dub.
Coach got fired
Bryce Young's
afterwards.
Saints coach fired Dennis Allen. GG's in the chat. Go next. And he had a family and everything.
Wow. Who day?
The Vikings squeaked out a close one against the awful Colts and
Yeah,
Joe
you want to touch on
Flacco.
that, Connor? You're
Yeah,
a Joe
I'll touch on
Flacco
it.
guy?
Yeah, I won't go too deep into it, but I was screaming from the rooftops, man. You don't bench AR. I mean, obviously it was a mistake tapping out. Shouldn't have done that. You can't do that as the leader of the team. I was very fair in my analysis of Anthony Richardson. He sometimes misses wide open wide receivers, but when you put in Joe Flacco, who did the same exact thing, miss wide open wide receivers all night on Sunday night, then it's like, why is he even in? He's 39 years old. He's not the future of your franchise. You're not going to make it to the playoffs. probably, or the Super Bowl with Joe Flacco in. So why stunt Anthony Richardson's development? So I don't know. It's tough. I hope they already said that Joe Flacco is gonna, for right now, is gonna continue to start for the rest of the season. But as a Colts fan, it's tough, man. This is probably the worst year for a Colts fan in my lifetime. We got to clean house, clean that front office up, and then hopefully, I mean, I'm hoping AR pans out, but if you
Do
don't
you
put him on
trade
the
him
field,
now? Do you trade him now and see like maximize what you can get back,
so
or do you just
yeah,
ride this into the ground?
so teams were calling on Anthony Richardson. That's the report, and reportedly the Colts aren't interested. The way I kind of read that is we're willing to trade him if we get a good enough offer, but I mean, I don't want him to. He's only 22 years old, man. It's he's still got some time to develop. I know Jake said it's not a developmental league, but in my opinion, if you're not a Super Bowl contender, you can afford to let some of your young guys develop. So
Not
we'll
if you want
see.
to keep your job.
They can
If you want to
develop.
keep your job, you're not.
I want to preface my NFL is not a developmental league in the sense of you're not starting a quarterback to let him develop. You're letting him sit to let him develop, as the Packers have done with Jordan Love and Aaron Rodgers. You draft a guy, you let him sit, you let him develop. When it's his time to start, you shouldn't just be throwing guys into the fire and like hoping they develop as they just get killed and play terribly and then get benched and then their confidence is ruined and possibly their career's ruined.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's interesting. I saw a stat. I think there's only one quarterback who's ever been benched and came back to start and make the Pro Bowl, and I think that was Trubisky. So it's not looking good for Anthony Richardson's future, but he's
Did
still
you
the
share
youngest
that in the
quarterback in
group
the league,
chat?
other than J.J. McCarthy. So
he did.
I don't know. I still got faith. Hopefully it pans out, but if we're not going to play him, then you're never going to find out.
There is positive. I mean, you see guys like Baker who struggled off the bat. You see guys like Sam Darnold who struggled off the bat, and I mean, he might not necessarily be good for the Colts, but who knows? Maybe he'll be good in 5 years down the line somewhere else.
I think
So I want to ask you guys this. I know all you guys have said you got to start Joe Flacco. After watching that game on Sunday night, I hope you guys watched it because it was terrible. I can't imagine how many missed throws where Joe Flacco had a wide open wide receiver and he just misses them. Like it looked like an Anthony Richardson throw. Would you still continue to start Joe Flacco, or would you put Anthony Richardson at this point?
If I'm the head coach of the Colts and the owner guarantees that I have a job there for the next 3 years, I would start Anthony Richardson no matter what, and then I would draft a new quarterback next year when we're one of the worst teams in the league.
I don't think
But
that.
if
That's
I'm
fair.
on the hot seat and I'm trying to keep my job, like you gotta get the wins. And the problem with Anthony Richardson is he's not accurate. And the most important trait for a quarterback is to be accurate. Like
But neither is Joe Flacco.
Peyton Manning couldn't throw the ball 40 yards at the end of his career, but he could still put it right on the receiver going across the field and go to a Super Bowl doing that. So I don't know. I only know of like one quarterback that was not accurate and then magically became accurate, and that was Josh Allen. So
Lamar Jackson too. I want to say. I mean, I wouldn't say Lamar Jackson's the most accurate
Lamar
quarterback.
Jackson's definitely gotten better as well. But Anthony
Mhm.
Richardson is like I feel like the least accurate quarterback that's ever started an NFL game. That's so I don't know. I mean, maybe if he like gets benched for a year or two, he magically is good, and I don't know. But
I'm
if
not
you're on
going
the
to
hot
argue that.
seat,
I'm
you
just going
can't
to say
start
that,
him.
like, obviously Joe Flacco is not an accurate quarterback. I think Sunday night proved that. And the sacrifice you take by benching Anthony Richardson is you just take all dynamic abilities from that offense. Obviously, when you have Anthony Richardson, there's the threat to run. Jonathan Taylor had his worst career or his worst game of the season, and I think that's in part due that there was no threat of the run from the quarterback. So I don't know. This offense looks abysmal with Joe Flacco. I think we're going to continue to look abysmal with Joe Flacco. All hope is pretty much lost for the season, even though we're 4-5 right now. But I don't know. We'll see how it shakes out.
All right,
Yeah.
Connor got his Colts rants out. I might as well get my Packer one out of the way here too, against the Lions. I mean, I feel like we didn't even get beat by the Lions. More so in the aspect of I thought we just beat ourselves. We got killed by penalties. We got killed by the pick six right before half, which just changed the game completely. We went from possibly driving to tie the game before half to being down 2 scores and giving them the ball at halftime. the Lions did exactly what I thought they were going to do. They came out and just kind of ran the ball, controlled the clock. Goff hit very easy 5 to 7 yard passes, would go play action and hit a 20 yarder over the middle. I mean, they did what
MVP
they did.
Goff.
They did what they did all season. If anything, honestly, they looked like the cold weather Lambeau team in the sense of they didn't drop 6 passes. They didn't drop any passes. I don't know. It's just a tough game. Packers didn't play great, but it does give me faith in the sense of I feel like they are very beatable, and we get to play them in like 3 weeks again. Get another crack at them, and I think there's a very realistic chance we meet them a third time in the playoffs. So I think this.
I think a big part of that game too was Jordan Love was obviously not 100% healthy, and that definitely hurt you guys.
I honestly thought Jordan Love played about as good as he could have played in the game, minus the pick six. Other than the pick six, he was putting the ball on the dot, making really good throws, extending plays. It was just 6 drops. And just like at key, it wasn't just 6 drops, it was drops on third downs, drops in the end zone that ended drives and took points off the board. I mean, he could, when you lose the game by, I mean, the score looks better than what it was. I mean, we lost that game by more than 10 points is what it looked like if you watched the game. But I still have faith, and I think the Lions are very beatable. What do you think, Josh?
Yeah. I'll say the Packers keep making mistakes. They're talented. They're good. They got some unbelievable guys on both sides of the ball, and they keep making these ridiculous mistakes. If they clean it up at some point here, hopefully during the bye week, and they can start humming along and get on the same page, I think they might be the most dangerous team that people do not want to play at the end of the year and get hot going into the playoffs. The Lions are beatable. The Lions play the same game. They got 2 great running backs, and they feed them, and then Goff dinks and dunks down the field on play action. They're beatable. They're definitely beatable. I think we're going to beat them in Ford Field. And
yes, I agree.
Love needs to get healthy, and we need to stop making stupid mistakes, and we can definitely beat them.
I got another thing I want to add too.
Right?
What'd you say?
You guys had some other key injuries too, right? I think you guys had a
Jair and Evan Williams were both out. Probably 2 of our 3 best defenders.
Yeah.
I want people to remember too. This is the youngest team in NFL history. The Packers are right now. We have a second-year starter at quarterback, which people forget. Jay Love's a second-year starter. He's played awesome. I mean, but he's gonna be. He's young. Second-year starter, he's going to be making mistakes still. We can't, expect him to go out there and throw a perfect game every time and bail us out. He's just a young quarterback, and it's just not realistic that that's going to happen week in and week out. And also, our D-line, when we just never blitz, and we have 4 guys that can consistently not get pressure literally ever. I don't know if we had I think we had, 1 sack in that game. 1 sack, yeah. 2 sacks. No pressure consistently. We blitzed 4 every play, and Goff literally had all day to throw. So that's frustrating too. But we're a young team, and I think similar to last year with how we started, we're 6-3 going into a bye week. We have nothing to worry about. Let's continue to develop this young roster, and let's go make a run at this thing.
Also, Dontavian Wicks needs to be taken off the field. I don't understand how he is on the field as much as he is. He drops almost every pass.
It's because he's literally Devontae Adams.
That's he's good at getting open. He's also going against the second or third string corner on the other defense, and every time the ball is put right where it's supposed to be, he does not catch it. So I would rather have Dobbs. I would rather have Tucker Kraft, literally anyone on the team out there besides Wicks, drop in every single ball that comes his way. He's killing me.
It is frustrating.
I will say, go ahead.
I was just going to say it's very frustrating. But Devontae Adams had those same mistakes his first 2 years too.
Definitely. And
if he can if he can conquer the demon of dropping passes, he's going to be a great player for us.
Yeah, I was going to say, credit where credit is due. Locks of the week, I think you had Jalen Reed at over 100 yards. And when you sent that in our group chat and I saw that the odds were plus 1,000 or whatever they were, I couldn't believe it. I told myself I was going to take that, and then just completely forgot about it. But that was a sharp pick.
Thank you.
Aiden Reed is so good.
He's a boomer bust guy. Him and Zay Flowers seem to they're either gonna get 12 yards or they're gonna get 100 yards.
He's boomer.
So-
Both of those guys though, they're boomer bust because the offense chooses for them to be a boomer bust.
They're very similar players too. They
They're both
kill.
so good.
They kill man coverage and they struggle in zone coverage.
If they just fed them, I don't know. I mean, if Jaden Reed's getting 6 targets a game, and then half the games it's a touchdown and 105 yards, and the other half I just don't understand.
We did
how
get
do you
a
not
lot.
feed
We
these
did get a
guys?
little lucky because 50 of those yards came on an irrelevant play, last play of the half, where we just basically threw up a Hail Mary and Jaden Reed caught it on the 10-yard line and just didn't matter. Half it was over. And that was 50 of the 120, but whatever. Cash is cash. We're not going to apologize for 11-1 cashes. And with that, boys, let's move it on over to week 10 of the NFL season. I got to
Week
stop
10?
clapping.
Week 10.
Week 10.
Every time Jake claps, I do the slow clap, and Michaela's always like, "Why do you do the clap during the
I do it as a tradition because I've been doing it at the start, but these mid podcast claps, we gotta get it out of the system.
I
It's
can't control myself.
bad look for the brand.
If you do it, I'll do it, and I don't even know I do it.
It's that Altoid scene from The Office where Jim, every time he does the computer restart, gives Dwight an Altoid until the point where he's just restarting his computer and Dwight's hand is just out.
Oh, my mouth is dry.
Great scene. All right, boys, let's move it on. Thursday night football tonight. For the podcast listeners, we got the Bengals at the Ravens. Ravens are -6. Huge over-under at 52.5. What do we got, P? Start us off hot.
I'm going to start us off hot. I'm going to pick a road dog, as I always do. I think Joe Shiesty throwing 5 touchdowns. He's got that offense well oiled. And the Ravens' weakness is literally pass defense. As we saw with Jameis Winston's first start in 2 years, literally cranking for 303 against these guys. So I think the Bengals are gonna get to 500 this week and make a statement game in Baltimore, which we all know is a divisional game where they're just gonna play hard. It'll be a good game, but I think since he squeaks this one out.
I'm riding with P, bro. Give me Cincy on the road. I've been picking Joe Shiesty all year, and it has not been great for me as they're 3-5. But I'm still a believer in the offense. I'm still a believer. 4-5. Good call. Still a believer in the offense. Still a believer in Joe Shiesty. No T. Higgins again, which is an impactful out. But I think it's gonna be another fun game to watch. They gotta find a way to stop King Henry because just almost no one's been able to stop him this year. I think Cincy's key to winning is just controlling the clock and putting up lots of points. Jamar Chase might go for 150 in 2 or 3 tutties. This is just a Jamar Chase legacy game with how bad Baltimore's pass defense is and how well Jamar Chase is getting 14 to 16 targets every week, it seems like. I just don't see a world where he doesn't feast in this game. It's just a matter of who's going to score more points because I think it's going to be one of those games. But give me Cincy.
Worth noting,
If I'm not mistaken, sorry, go ahead.
I forgot to mention that Zach Moss is likely done for the year, and they traded for Khalil Herbert from Chicago, and it was only the 3rd time in the history of the Cincinnati Bengals that they completed an in-season trade, which shows how desperate they are to get another running back in there. Sorry, Connor.
No, you're good. You're good. If I'm not mistaken, these two teams have already played this year. Yes, no.
I believe
I didn't
they
hear
have.
what you said. I completely
Okay.
They did
I
play. It was
believe-
41-38. Baltimore won the game in Cincinnati.
Gotcha.
41-38.
That's what I thought. I think this is one of those series where the teams split. I think each one wins one game. Bengals need to make a push. Derrick Henry's hard to stop right now. If the MVP didn't go to a quarterback every year, I think Derrick Henry would be the front runner right now. But I think the Bengals are just a little hungrier. They need this one more than the Ravens do, so I'm gonna write Bengals to split the series here.
Oh, did you guys all pick Bengals or did someone pick Ravens?
We've all picked Cincy.
Wow. It's a divisional game, so it's weird. The Ravens just roll people sometimes. I think I can't pick against the Ravens. The Bengals are probably gonna throw for like 400 or 500 yards and 4 or 5 touchdowns, but the Bengals are gonna do that too, except on the ground and in the air. So I'll go with the Ravens, and I will make up some ground here, I think. So that's nice.
It's very possible. Alrighty, moving on to the game in Munich. Munich, Germany?
Right.
Yes.
Okay. I'm not a very cultured man, not a geography major by any sense, but that's what I was putting together there. We got the Giants at the Panthers in a battle of the 2-7 teams. Giants are -6.5, over under 40.5.
Yeah, I know I've had a tough time picking the Giants because I keep riding them and I keep thinking they're going to win. And I know that I'm going to fade them in this pick, and I'm going to say that Bryce Young looked pretty okay last week for the first time that my two eyes have watched him play. And I think that he might have a chance to actually have Carolina winning 2 games in a row. And we might even see him get another head coach fired. If he can beat the Giants, we might see Danny Dimes get benched and DeBall fired all in the same back-to-back head coach fires. But yeah, give me Carolina. Let's ride the hot hand. I don't. The Giants have just not been able to put it together, no matter what.
I rode Carolina last week, called the upset, which was huge. I honestly just don't think Carolina's going to win another game this entire year. I think the Giants are a good team for being 2-7. I think they're a lot better than what their record shows. I think Tyrone Tracy's a weapon at running back. Malik Neighbors is a weapon at receiver. Danny Dimes has been playing a lot better than people thought, and probably even think looking at their record. Give me the Giants here, and I think they clear the 6.5 easy as well.
Yeah, well, he's not wrong. Bryce Young looked not terrible for once in his career. Kind of building on what I said, it takes a couple years for these quarterbacks to figure it out. But that being said, the Giants are just a better team. Jake, you said it. For the Giants being 2-7, I think they're actually better than that. They got a lot of talent on that offense. Tyrone Tracy's a weapon at running back and receiver. People forget he played receiver in college. So that Giants team is going to be too much for the Panthers here.
Yeah. Bryce Young just got a win. They're super hyped up. I want to pick the Panthers just because of that. But I think the Giants are better than their record. And I'll go with the Giants, I guess. I don't know. This one's pretty close. I could see it going either way, but I'll lean Giants here just because Malik Neighbors and Tyrone Tracy, between one of them's going to have an explosive player. So
It's also Carolina's defense, who's just been getting eaten alive this year.
right. This one's close, though.
Should be fun starts in fantasy if you got Tyrone Tracy or Malik Neighbors. Should be fun weeks. Moving on, we got the Patriots at the Bears. Bears are -6.5, over under 38.5. And have the mighty Bears fallen. What you got, P?
Bears got cooked last week for sure. I can't tell if I think the Cardinals might just be a little bit underrated. The Bears might be a little overrated. That said, it was a solid win for Arizona. I still think the Bears are good enough to win this game at home against the Patriots and a young Drake May. So I'm going to take the Bears.
The Bears.
The Bears.
I am also on the Bears. I think the Patriots are in a similar spot where they're fighting for that number 1 overall pick. Drake May is fun to watch. Him sending that game to OT last week on that just electric last play of the game was so fun to watch. And I think he gives me a little Josh Allen vibe to him, just like in the sense of how he plays. He's definitely fun to watch. but I think that just the Bears are a better overall put together team, terribly coached, and also get DJ Moore off that team.
Yeah.
What an absolute scumbag for a receiver that just got paid, 110, 120 million this offseason. What a scumbag. Did you
Middle
see?
of the
You guys see
play?
the play that I'm talking about?
Yeah, middle of
I
the play.
disagree entirely. I disagree
I know
entirely.
why he did it, but what he did in the post game was inexcusable after explaining it. But what basically the context of what we're talking about is Caleb Williams is scrambling on like a 2nd and 8. He scrambles to one side of the field. DJ Moore's momentum basically carries him out of bounds. While the play's going on, instead of like basically the rule is if you step out of bounds, you can't be the first player to touch the ball coming back into bounds. So basically he's out of the play anyway. Literally the play's going on. Caleb scrambles for another 10 plus seconds and makes like a throw incomplete. DJ Moore's literally by the time the play ended was sitting on the bench drinking water, and it was 3rd down. It wasn't like he wasn't going back in the next play anyway. And then in the post game, he kind of addressed it, and he just basically seemed like he doesn't even want to play for the Bears anymore, and he just hates Caleb Williams.
Who doesn't?
Thanks.
So interesting. You picked the Bears. I picked the Bears as well. I just think the Bears are the better overall put together team, and I think even without DJ Moore's help, Roman Dunze and Keenan Allen can do something in Cole Kmet, and they're at least serviceable enough to beat the New England Patriots. Even though I don't even hate the Bears because it's like we've owned them for so long. It's almost not even a rival at this point. But it's just like I have no faith in them as a team. But sure, they can win this game and have a winning record again.
I did not know that about the whole DJ Moore. It sounds to me like that locker room's pretty broken, and I hate picking teams with a broken locker room. But when we look at that Pats team compared to last year, they haven't made many improvements. Drake May is probably the biggest improvement, but he's a rookie quarterback, and rookie quarterbacks take time to develop, like we've said. So I'm going to pick the Bears. I don't feel great about it. Drake May's been very impressive, but top to bottom, the Bears are just better in every way.
Interesting. The Bears got a great defense, and I want to pick the Bears just because their defense. But there's something about Drake May. I don't know what it is about Drake May, but I love Drake May. And I think the Patriots are going to pull this one out. And also, the play that Jake was addressing, I saw the replay twice, and I paid like 75% attention to it as I was watching it twice. And I got 2 takeaways. Both of them are the complete opposite of each other, but both could totally be possible. First takeaway, he ran off the field. I could have sworn he did like a weird limp. So at first I thought maybe he got hurt in that play, and he was like, I'm hurt. I'm not calling on you. I'm going to finish this first. And he's like, maybe he just got hurt. I'm going to limp off the field, and I'm already out of bounds. I'm ineligible. I'm hurt. Or, also possible, he gave up completely on that play, which is the correct move. If you're DJ Moore, you're getting paid all that money. I think the best decision you can make in that moment is completely give up on your team. Why? I'll tell you why. You are sending your team a message. I'm the leader of this team. I'm getting paid all the money. I'm the most important person on this team, and everyone on the team needs to know that. And now that you realize that I've given up on you, that's the motivation to win me back. We need to start winning games, and then I will play again because I'm the most important person on this team. So either way, totally valid. I'm completely on DJ Moore's side. And I will also take the Patriots, even though I'm completely on DJ Moore's side.
In the post-game interview, he did say he got injured on the play. So he took the smart approach opposite of what Anthony Richardson did. And he lied.
Richardson's going to start taking notes.
And he lied instead of not lying, which was the correct move.
I ain't even going to lie. I was tired.
I didn't see the post game interview at all, but I just watched the replay, and I could have sworn I saw him start limping as he was like walking on to the bench. So I just figured like, oh, he got hurt.
Yeah,
Doesn't that
he
play?
he was a little extra sassy in the post game interview. Let's just say that, but he did say he was injured on the play, and he was also thirsty. I believe was his quote.
Oh, yeah. Well, then I think he should be completely absolved of all criticism. Then.
Yeah, maybe. I could be reading too much into it, but it seems like Chicago fans are very not happy with him. But I think we've talked too much about the Bears already, so let's get away from that and talk about the other team we talk about way too much. We got the Bills at the Colts. Bills are -4, over under 47.5.
I'm confused how this game is a tighter spread than the last three that we just had. I'm on the Bills by at least a tutty. I don't understand how it's only 4 right now. It's crazy to me.
I'm on the Bills, but I'm a little eerie of it in the sense of the spread is suspect, and it seems like Vegas knows something we don't. And the Bills always seem to like. The Bills will definitely play up to their opponents, but I feel like the Bills also seem to play down to their opponents at times and can sometimes drop a weird game. And this could be one of them, but I think Josh Allen's just too good against such a terrible defense. And I think I predicted 4 total touchdowns on Twitter last week. I think he only ended up with 3. But, I mean, a couple called back to penalty that didn't count. Probably could have gotten there. I think he gets the 4 total tutties this week.
Let me educate you boys, right? So the Colts, every single game this season, I saw something on Twitter saying this was like a record, or like this is the first time it's happened in the Super Bowl era. Doesn't sound like it would be true, but the Colts have won or lost every single game by 1 possession, right? So no matter who we're playing up to them or we're playing down to them. And you said the Bills do the same thing. Obviously, Joe Flacco starting this game, which doesn't excite me, but I'm never going to pick against my Colts. You just ripped on the Colts defense, which if this was week 3, I would say fair. But if you watch how they played against that Vikings offense, they made Sam Darnold look like an amateur, something that no team's been able to do this year. I think he was picked off 3 times, if I'm not mistaken. So that Colts defense is rolling right now. It's just the offense that's the problem. So I don't know. You got to get Jonathan Taylor involved. You got to get Josh Downs, Michael Pittman involved. If we do that, I feel like we got a good chance at winning this game, even though I've pretty much given up on the Colts at this point. But I'm going to ride Colts this week.
Yeah, I think the Bills are the obvious choice here. Josh Allen's okay quarterback, like probably QB 17 or something like that, but they're still a good
Couldn't
team.
even say it with a straight face.
The Josh Allen QB 16.
Where would you rank him legitimately?
Legitimately, like if I was starting a franchise, I'd probably
just
put him in the
rank
top.
Quarterbacks in the league for this season.
Probably
Where would he
like
be?
QB 4, maybe.
Okay.
But I think the problem with the Colts is they're starting Joe Flacco. I think what they should really do, Anthony Richardson is just far superior quarterback. I think if he was in, he gives them a legit chance to win every game. I think his accuracy would probably get better the more he throws incompletions and interceptions. So the Colts are just such. Yeah,
such a troll.
I'll take the Bills. I really wanted to keep. I wanted to go for like another minute about how good Anthony Richardson is and how he should be playing, but I couldn't control myself, so I just bailed on it. But whatever, I'll take the Bills.
Alrighty, moving on. We got the Broncos at the Chiefs. Chiefs are -7.5, over under 41.5. You're muted, P.
Sorry, I was coughing and muted myself and then
No, you're good.
Thank you for the heads up. Okay. Yeah, I was just thinking about how the Broncos and Chiefs is going to be an interesting game. The Broncos did not really show up defensively the way that we expected them to this past week. I think they're going to bounce back here, and this is going to be another really close Chiefs win. I don't know why. It's just every game the Chiefs play is so underwhelming to watch for the most part, but they find a way to win it, and I'm just going to have to guess that this is the same thing. So I'm going to go Chiefs.
On the exact same thought process. The Chiefs have covered almost no spreads this entire year. They're a team that's honestly barely squeaking by. I just don't think the Broncos are going to be the team that makes the difference here. Mahomes has played the Broncos 13 times in his career, and he has won 12 of those 13 times. And I don't think much is going to change here. Give me the Chiefs at home to go 9-0.
I'm so close to picking the Broncos here. I just can't bring myself to do it, especially with Sean Payton at the helm there. Bo Nix has been very impressive, arguably the best rookie quarterback in this class. It's tough because the Chiefs get so much help from the refs every week. They should not be undefeated at this point, but it is what it is. I think, I don't know. It's tough. Like I said, Bo Nix is a rookie. I think Andy Reid's going to scheme something up to make him struggle a little bit. So I'm going to ride Chiefs.
Yeah, the Chiefs suck. I hate the Chiefs. They're probably the worst 8-0 team in the history of the NFL. If Mahomes throws 3 interceptions and plays terrible, then their defense and whatever running back they pick up off the couch is going to win them the game. So it doesn't really matter what happens. The Chiefs are just going to win no matter what. So they'll probably be the worst team in history to run the table in the regular season and go to the Super Bowl again. So I guess I'll pick the Chiefs. Whatever. Patrick Mahomes is ruining my life. Whatever.
He almost doesn't even him being in the AFC. I feel like if he was in the NFC, I would despise Patrick Mahomes. But him being so far away in the AFC, he's almost been the Packers will get beat in the playoffs by the Niners or someone else, and then he beats them. So it almost kind of makes me feel a little. I don't know. I'm not cheering for Mahomes necessarily. I have nothing to really care about or a wagon to ride for the Chiefs, but he just doesn't bother me. I don't know.
I like parity. I hate that we went from Tom Brady winning every Super Bowl to Patrick Mahomes winning every Super Bowl.
Yeah, I don't know.
Unless it's the Packers. I hate parody. Anyways, or I want parody. Patrick Mahomes sucks.
We got the Falcons at the Saints. Falcons are -3.5, over under 46.5.
Yeah, I'm going Falcons here on a Saints team that is lost in the sauce. So
I am also on the Falcons. Saints just fired their head coach. The whole team. Michael Thomas is coming at Derek Carr on Twitter.
Bro.
And Derek Carr.
Olave's brother.
And Olave's brother. Family members of players, it has to be so embarrassing as a player for something to happen. Olave's literally in the hospital, and Olave's just absolute loser of a brother, probably does nothing with his life except envy the position his brother's in. All he's gonna do is just go on Twitter and chirp his quarterback. You think that's helping anything? You think Derek Carr wanted to put his receiver in a terrible spot, and Olave got his 4th concussion in 4 years, which is terrible and obviously not good. Derek Carr is such a good, nice guy. That's the last thing he's trying to do. And in the post game, he honestly handled it about as good as he could have. They asked him about the Michael Thomas. They asked him about the brother. Michael Thomas is Antonio Brown 2.0, who's a salty veteran that he got replaced by Olave, and he got replaced by other receivers on the team when he was a washed-up bum that didn't play for 3 years straight. No respect for a player like that that's willing to just throw teammates under the bus for no reason. Derek Carr addressed it perfectly in the postgame. I don't know if you guys saw it, but just a true class act. He basically was I've had teammates on a number of teams. I've never had an issue with a teammate ever in my career. I don't know what it is. We just never seemed to he never liked me for whatever reason. I've tried to reach out and call him multiple times to address anything. He doesn't respond to me. I'm trying to solve issues. I have no bad blood with him. Not sure what the issue is. He's just a nice guy, and it's why are you doing this, Michael Thomas? But
yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself. That was perfect. Saints are not a good team at this point. No Olave probably this week. Most definitely no Olave this week. Falcons aren't a bad team. Kyle Pitts, you kind of called it a little bit last week, Jake, where he was going to have a dud. He didn't have a dud exactly, but he definitely wasn't playing up to the standard he's been playing for the last 6 weeks or whatever. But that team's just too good with Bijan, Algier, Drake London. They're balling right now, so I'm gonna ride Falcons.
Yeah, I have the complete opposite take of everything that's been said. I think Chris Olave's brother and the other Michael Thomas are completely in the right. Derek Carr is a terrible person for sure, a terrible person. Obviously, what's happening is Chris Olave did something to Derek Carr. We don't know what he did. They're not saying it. Derek Carr put that ball in the air. He knew what was going to happen. Derek Carr puts on eyeliner before every game. It's easy to tell just when you look at him. And I think if Jake, my brother, was in the NFL and a quarterback did that to him on purpose, which was obvious, I would probably go on Twitter and threaten to burn down that guy's house with his family in it. So, if anything, I think they're going too light on Derek Carr. Derek Carr was obviously on purpose, but after all that being said, I'll take the I'll take the Falcons.
I mean, I see a
Obviously, the
lot of
better
stuff.
team.
That might be the most ridiculous take I've ever heard. I say a lot of stuff that has to.
It
Have
wasn't a
topped
real
every-
take. This guy's just a troll.
Yeah, that has to be 100% just not true, not how he feels.
Buddy's had Buddy's had a couple extra Coors banquets on the night and decided to be a troll.
He's feeling it. He's feeling it with that take. That take was wild.
I don't have any insider information. That was all just based on speculation.
Nice. All right, moving on. We got the Niners at the Bucks. Niners -6.5, over under 50.5.
Yeah. It's going to be a hell of a game. I don't think we got McCaffrey yet. They did activate his practice window. I have no idea how the Niners are 7-point favorites in Tampa. And I really like how the Buccaneers are playing just as a unit. That said, I do think the Niners are going to find a way to win this one. They just have a little bit more on the defensive side of the football where Tampa might be lacking a little bit. But interesting spot for Tampa, honestly. A home game, 7-point dogs at home after you just almost beat the Chiefs in Arrowhead. Kind of interesting, but
I thought the exact same thing. The spread makes almost no sense in my mind. Even the spread last week against the Chiefs, I think Tampa was like a 9-point dog, which covered, which was awesome.
Sense.
I think they're in the same spot this week. I could see them covering easy. I'm going to do the same thing I did last week, and I'm going to pick the Bucs to win outright. Baker's just been impressing me. I am a little scared about some of the turnovers and some of the scary throws he's been making against this Niners defense, which is legit. And I also really like Ricky Pearsall. And I think Ricky Pearsall is just one of those guys that's going to be – he's going to be a fun guy to start in the sense of he's going to be the slot guy that catches a lot of balls. He might not have like an insane amount of yards or make like a ton of huge plays, but I feel like he's the consistent like first down, catch 8-9 balls in a game kind of guy. And awesome story too, just coming off the gunshot. But I'm going to take Tampa at home against a really good Niners team.
Well, I'm glad you came around on Baker Mayfield. I think it was like week 3 or 4 you called me out for praising Baker. So I'm glad you came around. Look, I mean, I like the Bucs a lot. 49ers haven't ended it all.
I don't know if I remember that, but sure.
But he just gatekeeped Baker Mayfield.
I'll find the clip.
Okay.
But, the 49ers have played the standard. The Bucs are banged up, so this is a toss-up in my mind. If I was Vegas, I would set this as a pick 'em. So, yeah, like you guys said, this should not be a 7-point spread. That being said, look, I mean, the Bucs just don't have any good receivers. Sterling Shepard, I think, is wide receiver 1 right now, which is ridiculous.
McMillan.
Right? Yeah, so
But he was hurt last week.
I'm going to ride 49ers. I don't love it, but the Bucs are just too banged up.
You just kept giving him more information. He just kept not listening.
He said, let me cook. He said, you're out on Baker Mayfield. Opinion's invalid.
Good pick, Connor.
Let me cook.
Good pick.
Who'd you pick, Connor? Sorry.
Niners.
Okay.
For my previous pick, I just want to make it clear that was all a joke. Derek Carr totally probably doesn't wear eyeliner. It just looks like he does. The 49ers feel like are just so talented. The Buccaneers are down Godwin and Mike Evans. The 49ers defense is good enough to handle, at least somewhat handle them with Mike Evans and Godwin. So I don't see the Buccaneers beating.
It's even funnier that we just can. Josh's camera's quality is just the worst thing I've ever seen. He's literally just pixels on the screen. His last like 4 picks, and it's like we can see that somebody's there, but it's like this just mysterious voice being an absolute troll.
Is it that bad? So do you want me to leave and rejoin?
You're fine.
You're good. You're good.
Fine. You're fine. Who'd you pick? Sorry, I'm just distracted. You picked
I'll
San
take
Fran?
I'll take the Niners.
Okay, that's what I figured. Alrighty, moving on.
Moving on.
Pittsburgh at Washington. Washington's -3, over under 45.5.
Yeah, Pittsburgh made a lot of moves that I think are pretty much irrelevant, although they do kind of fit the culture. They got Mike Evans, Preston Smith.
Mike Williams.
Preston Smith actually a revenge game for him because he was with Washington before he went to the Packers. So if he ends up suiting up, it'd be a little revenge game for him. I think it's going to be a good game overall. I like Washington better. I think Jaden Daniels is just the game changer. Honestly, I think both defenses are pretty good. Steelers probably have a slightly better one, but the Jaden Daniels versus Russell Wilson in my mind is not even a competition. So I think that the Commanders are going to find a way to win this game at home.
I am also on the Commanders. I think Washington's defense is probably one of the most slept on defenses in the NFL. I've been sneakily right. I picked up their defense week 4 in fantasy in 4 out of my 6 leagues, and I've just sneaky been riding them every week, and they just cook. They've been awesome. And honestly wasn't a defense I was expecting to be good coming into the year, but I think Jaden Daniels being so effective offensively and the run game for Washington also being really good has taken a lot of weight off the defense too and putting them ahead in a lot of positions in the game where the Washington's pass rushers can just kind of get after it. Should be an interesting game as Pittsburgh has really good defense and probably the defense player of the year in TJ Watt. Pickens has scored about 8 touchdowns this year that have not counted. It'll be interesting to see if he can finally get in the end zone for one that does count. But I'm going to take Washington as well.
Yeah, you just took the words right out of my mouth. That Pittsburgh defense is good. TJ Watt, probably one of the best defensive players in the league at this point. But Jaden Daniels is the next factor, man. He's clicking with all his receivers right now. Noah Brown had a nice little emergence the last couple of weeks with the Hail Mary 2 weeks ago, and then had a decent game last week. So I like the way that Washington's offense looks right now. I think it'll be a close game. Pittsburgh is not a bad team by any means, but Washington's just a little bit better. So I'm going to ride Washington here.
I think something we're forgetting. Jaden Daniels is a rookie quarterback going against Mike Tomlin and TJ Watt's Steelers defense. The Steelers offense might not be able to do much because the Commanders defense has magically turned into being really good the last few weeks for some reason because they were terrible the first couple weeks of the season. But how the Steelers offense is going to score points. But I think the Steelers defense might score some points here. And I think they're going to give Jaden Daniels fits as a rookie quarterback. So I'll take the Steelers here.
Alrighty, moving on. We got Minnesota at Jacksonville. Minnesota's -4, over under 45.5.
Yeah, give me the Vikings. I don't need to elaborate on how bad the Jags are this year.
I'm on Minnesota too. I was tempted to pick Jacksonville here, but they've just not been consistent enough for me to want to trust them. And although I don't think Minnesota's as good as people think they are, I am going to take Minnesota here.
Yeah, after watching that game on Sunday night, I was thoroughly impressed with Minnesota's defense. The way, I forget the name of the defensive coordinator, but he deserves a lot of credit. No 2 plays on defense look the same for Minnesota, so they're very good at mixing up looks. and keeping quarterbacks on their toes. Jacksonville's just not good, and Minnesota's at least decent. So I'll ride Minnesota.
I'm also very tempted to take the Jaguars. It seems like Minnesota is not playing as great the last couple weeks, and the Jaguars are playing better, even though they didn't win last week. They had a lot of injuries last week, but I'll still take the Vikings. But this one I think is going to be close. I think it's going to be a one-score game.
The Jags did activate C.J. Beathard, and Trevor is currently hurt with some kind of arm injury.
Bigsby is questionable as well.
We don't even
Left
know.
arm or right
Your
arm?
BTJ.
I don't know, man. At this point, they're probably just going to shut him down for the year. I mean, it doesn't matter. You just kind of chalked
Trevor
anyways.
Lawrence?
Yeah, it's chalked.
Josh just instantly thought to his dynasty squad that has Trevor Lawrence. That's all he cares about.
Yeah.
He has no care for Trevor Lawrence or the Jags. All he cares about is the
They're
fantasy
not-
squad.
There's no way they're shutting him down for the year. That's crazy.
There's
Trevor
a
Lawrence
shot.
could get in a car accident tomorrow, and Josh will instantly be like, "Well, can he play?"
Well, I
Damn.
don't know him.
All right, moving on. We got Tennessee at the Chargers. Chargers are minus 7.5. Over under 38.5.
Chargers are looking dangerous, honestly. So, the Chargers.
I'm on the Chargers here too. I picked the dumb decision to pick against them last week. I believed in Jameis, and I believed the Chargers didn't have enough firepower on offense, is what I believed I said. And QJ is electric. Ladd is just Steve Smith 2.0 apparently.
JK went off too.
Is what
Yeah.
people are calling him. JK looked good. I mean, when Herbert's at the helm, I don't know why I'm picking against Herbert when I've hyped Herbert all preseason of how good he was going to be and how much I love Justin Herbert. I've just glazed Herbert and Josh Allen. I don't know if I'm going to be picking against him too much more. Give me the Chargers.
He still
Yeah, I was
only
about to
has
call you
one
out for your,
interception. Sorry, Connor.
I was about to call you out for your analysis last week, but you called yourself out, so I don't have to do that. Yeah, and you forgot about Joshua Palmer. Joshua Palmer looks really good.
Chestnut checkers. Josh Palmer's bummed.
He had a good week last week, and I think he was the lead receiver in that team last year. So I don't know. Yeah, Tennessee, I wouldn't write him off. Their defense is very solid. I think they have the number one passing defense in the league right now. But when it comes to quarterback, they just don't have one. Whether it's Will Levis or Mason Rudolph, I mean, that offense is atrocious. So I'm never going to pick, Will Levis or the other over Justin Herbert. So give me the Chargers.
You want to know why Tennessee has such a good pass defense? It's because they're always behind so many points that teams don't have to pass on them.
Yeah, Jared Goff had 84 yards against them, and they lost by 50. Such a good pass defense. Holy cow.
That does happen. I guess Jim Harbaugh is great at coaching football because the Chargers have risen from the ashes with a roster that didn't seem possible to be good this year, and they're really good. So the Titans quarterback situation is probably the second worst quarterback situation in the league, maybe.
Behind who?
Bryce Young and
Okay. Honestly, it might be worse than that. It's
worse.
neck and neck. They're both
the
bad.
Raiders. The Raiders are up there too.
They're
the
up
Raiders
there,
are
too.
probably
They're cracking
there,
top
too.
3.
So for sure, top 3 worst quarterback situation. Unless your defense is like an elite defense, you are not going to win games with a top 3 terrible quarterback situation in the league. So I will pick the Chargers.
Go. Josh, try leaving the call and coming back. We'll see if we can get your cam fixed quick while we move into our next game here. We got the Eagles at the Cowboys. Eagles are -7. Over under 43.5 in the Eagles-Cowboys games. Much better. We can actually see him.
Yes, welcome back.
Welcome
You
back.
guys missed all the crazy facial expressions I was doing as I
Oh, and he's gone.
Analysis.
That's fine.
I'll just bring my pick really quick. I was just reading about how Dak might be out 4+ weeks with his hammy. CD's dealing with an AC. This team was already 3-5 with them healthy. I mean, this has got to be Philly all day.
I think we're going to sweep Philly here across the board. Is that what we're thinking, boys?
Who are they playing?
Dallas. With
no Dak and potentially no CD.
Yeah, I'll take Philly.
Go. Let's make up some time here. The pods have been running long. We did an hour and a half last week. We are at 55 right now with 3 games to go.
We're good.
I don't mind them going long, though. The boys are having fun. The boys are having a good
sir.
time, having some good conversation.
3 hours every time.
It would be fun to do that one day. We gotta build up the brand. We gotta go from 5 views to 6 views. Slowly. If you build it, they will come.
I gotta get a catheter.
Okay. We got the Jets at the Cardinals in a pick'em. Even.
Yes.
Over under 46.5. This might be the first true pick'em we've seen this year.
Yeah, this is a great game. It's a great matchup. Both are kind of trending up, honestly. Jets are fighting for their lives still, whereas the Cardinals are, tied for the division lead, which was surprising to a lot of people. I think this Cardinals team should be able to edge them out at home. But man, that Jets offense was really clicking last game. I'm gonna go the Jets, just based off of Devontae Adams was finally clicking. Garrett Wilson was looking good. I mean, if they can get Breece Hall going, I think Arizona's defense is kind of where they're sus. Their offense is good. I'm curious to see. I think this one goes over the 46.5, and I think the Jets win as well.
I am on board with the over 46.5. The Jets, like P said, are fighting for their life in this game. Really looked terribly offensively last week up until about a quarter and a half left in the game, and then they just absolutely cooked. There's really only 3 guys on that offense that are going to touch the ball at all next week, and it's going to be Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, and Devontae Adams. Now that Lazard's out for a bit, no Mike Williams since he's a Steeler now. Not that he was impactful in any way whatsoever. He was more of a liability on the field than anything. But I think the Jets keep their hope alive against a very inconsistent, you never know what you're going to get Cardinal team.
Yeah, it was interesting. I was listening to Pat McAfee's podcast on my drive over here yesterday. And, he said that Jets team rallied at halftime. They are playing for their lives, right? But Aaron Rodgers just looks so bad for so long. This team isn't what we expected going into the season. Same with the Cards, though. I mean, the Cards are very hot and cold. I don't have a preference in this game. I could go either way. So I'm going to go with the quarterback I like a little bit more. So I'm going to ride with Tyler and the Cardinals here.
I didn't realize
Jets defense has been very disappointing this year. I remember going into last year thinking the Jets were probably the hottest defense in the league, and they looked nothing like that at all. They've been
getting run all over on. They cannot stop the run. What you got, Josh?
I didn't realize you said you were listening to his podcast. I didn't realize he had a podcast. I thought he was just a punter.
Podcast, whatever you want to call it, same thing.
What did you say?
Podcast, show, it's the same thing.
I was joking. I knew about it. I've heard about it.
I like how we all make our picks, and then Josh, every single time it's him makes a pick, he goes, like, buddy, you've had 5 minutes to think about this pick. what are we doing over here?
I forgot what game we were picking.
Jets Cardinals.
Yeah, I figured it out. I said the so I could figure out what game we're picking, and then I figured it out. I'll take the Jets. I think think Rodgers has looked that bad. Connor said Rodgers has been looking terrible. I think Rodgers is on his own page, and most of the receivers he throws the ball to are on a different page. And at some point in the season, maybe they figure out how to get somewhere close to the same page. But I don't think Rodgers has looked that bad. The Cardinals have the most disappointing rookie wide receiver and rookie wide receiver NFL history in the first season, it seems like. So
That's insane.
I mean, stat wise, Rodgers has looked really good compared to some
I
of
think
these other
I
QBs.
think the Jets will win. I think the Jets got a nice win last week, and they're all excited and happy. I think they ride that wave. The Cardinals win last week means nothing to me.
Cool. Moving on to Sunday Night Football, our carry under game of the week. We got the Detroit Lions minus 3.5 over under 48.5 at the Houston Texans.
Yeah, this Texans defense, I mean, they got the pieces, but they haven't really been able to kind of keep people from scoring a lot of points. And if there's one thing I learned about Detroit's offense this year is that they tend to score a lot of points. And as much as I want to use an excuse as their defense isn't great, they just keep finding ways to put points on the board. I think the Lions are going to win this one. Not to mention Houston's offense has been extremely sus since they lost Diggs and Nico.
Call me a hater. Call me whatever you want to call me. Call me a bitter Packer fan after the loss. I'm taking Houston at home, getting their key number one piece on offense back, hopefully this week in Nico Collins. He has been activated, but they still have not declared he's going to play, even though he has passed all his tests. So signs are pointing to him playing. I think Houston's offense is going to get clicking again with their key piece back, and I look for him to absolutely eat against this Detroit secondary. And although Houston has not looked great the last couple weeks, I mean, they looked awful last week playing in primetime. I think they find a way to win this game at home, where I feel like the Lions always seem to find a way to drop a couple weird games throughout the season. I think all the money is going to be on the Lions this week, spread and money line. But let me go a little contrarian. Let me pick against Houston. Let me pick against Detroit, picking Houston.
The Texans aren't. I mean, they pretty much. I know it's only week 10, but they pretty much won that division. They're 2 games ahead of the Colts, but they have the tiebreaker, so really they're 3 games ahead of the Colts. They can afford to kind of sit back and coast and still win that division. The Jags and the Titans are going to catch up to them. That offensive line for the Texans has looked so bad. It reminds me of Joe Burrow's rookie year where he was just running for his life. I mean, look, they're also beat up on offense. No Nico Collins, no Stephon Diggs. So this one's really a no-brainer for me. I'm going to ride the Lions.
Nico's probably back, but yes.
I also think it's possible Nico might not play this week. Or if he does play, I think he'll probably be limited, and I don't think he'll be the Nico that we saw before the injury, at least just this week. I think next week he's probably the same Nico, but this week I think they might ease him in. I don't know if he's going to take over the game. I'll also take the Lions here. I think the Lions are a very good team all around, and the Packers are destined to vanquish them in the playoffs this year. So, I take the Lions.
It'd be so sweet. I don't even mind if we drop 2 games to them in the regular season. It'd be just so sweet to knock them off in the playoffs. I would love nothing more. I would love nothing more.
I want to knock them off in the most heartbreaking way possible.
Honestly, there's one team out of the NFC. I don't know why we're drifting back to Packers. It was Josh's fault. Blame him, but I'll at least throw a point in there. If I can avoid the Niners in the playoffs, I'm not scared of anyone else in the NFC. Moving on, we got Monday Night Football. We got the Dolphins at the Rams. Very interesting game. Rams are -1, over under 50.5.
Yeah, I mean, I think the NFC West is turning into be a heck of a battle between those 4 teams. It's just going to be such a great race down the stretch. I think the Rams are going to win this one at home against the 2-6 Dolphins that has yet to put it together. And the Rams, they really kind of win and lose as a team. It's never just one area of the game that they suffer in. It's they all pick each other up. If the offense is struggling, the defense is getting 2 picks, including a pick 6. If the defense is struggling, stats moving the field 80 yards in 2 minutes to tie the game. Like they play well together, and I'm gonna take the Rams at home.
I'm on the absolute same page. When the Rams offense is fully healthy, Cup, Puka got ejected early into last week's game. Was one of my locks of the week to go over 70 last week, which I absolutely loved. Puka is just an absolute animal, and is such a perfect duo/trio with Cup and kind of the emergence of Demarcus Robinson again last week, who's back-to-back really good weeks out of him. Key plays, literally caught him the tutty to win the game. The Rams offense looks really good. On the other side of the ball, the Dolphins offense looked awesome last week. A chain's fully going. Tyreek's back involved. I feel like they need to get Waddle a little bit more involved. And Jonnu Smith is just weirdly involved in the offense and kind of gets his every week, which is interesting too. But I'm going to take the Rams at home in a close one.
Yeah, it kind of sucks going third or fourth or fifth or whatever in this podcast because you guys take the words right out of my mouth. But yeah, both really good offenses. The Finns, A-Chain is unreal. I mean, the guy's not human. They still got Tyreek Hill. They still got Jalen Waddle, although Jalen Waddle is taking a step back this year, at least in my opinion. I mean, the Rams, same thing. I mean, Kyron Williams is a beast. Puka's a beast. They still got Cup on that team. I don't really. I mean, like, this is the same thing with the Jets Cardinals. If this is a toss up, I don't really have a preference. I have no idea who's going to win this game. In my opinion, it's a true 50-50. But I'm going to go Finns because I'm just going to go Finns. It's a guess.
Yeah, I think the Dolphins have looked too good the last two games to lose both those games. So I think they finally play another good game and get a win here. I think the Dolphins receivers have just not produced. It's interesting. It seems like the offense has changed and is starting to run through Achane instead of like Tyreek and Waddle through the air. So Tyreek really hasn't even been relevant in fantasy since week 2, and he's now 2 weeks back with Tua. But I'll take the Dolphins to beat the Rams here.
I suppose another week of picks in the books. Anything else we want to touch on? Any picks you really like? Any guys you think are going to pop off this week, fantasy-wise, betting-wise? Really just any last-minute talking points, I guess, before we wrap up the pod
Just
here.
no Cleveland, no Green Bay, no Raiders, no Seattle Seahawks this week. Those are your bye weeks.
Good call.
Thanks for that. Yeah, I was just good. Jake mentioned it before the podcast. I think I mentioned it at the end of the podcast a few weeks ago. Picks that me and Jake agree on are very it's like a 90-something% hit rate. If you parlayed all the picks last week, I think you said it was an 8 or a 10 leg parlay, it would have hit. So I'm gonna start doing that every week, putting like $5 on it, and hopefully get lucky here and
the
there.
1 week we forget it hits.
Yeah,
we knew. Yeah, it's a good point. One other point, I hit Jaden Reed at 11-1 to go over 100 last week on Thursday Night Football. So tonight, if you guys are watching this pod and need a bet, I don't understand this line at all. And he's new to the team, but Deontay Johnson's obviously a new Raven. His line for the game is set at 20.5 receiving yards. Take him. You can take him at the max on DraftKings up to 60 receiving yards at 9.5-1. Which
does he even know the playbook yet?
I don't know if it matters. Amari Cooper didn't know the playbook for the Bills and was catching tutties.
That's true.
I don't know how much it'll matter how involved he'll be. A little bit. I mean, it's not really a risky pick as it's 9.5-1. Take him over 20 and he can legitimately get that in one catch. But love both those picks.
Sweet.
Raymond's Bengals game should be a gold mine for fantasy.
That's a fun Thursday night game. I feel like we've been getting some Thursday night stinkers, but
yeah,
should be.
I mean, everyone's expecting it to be a barn burner, and all the fantasy guys should dominate. So it might be a classic like 17-10 defensive divisional struggle.
Sweet. Any last minutes? Last call. Let's go.
I'm all set.
Oh yeah, sorry, Pete. This is the stray. But I was looking at the spreadsheet, and we're in week 10, and you only have 1 week with a winning record.
Hell
I'm the only
yeah.
podcast with a winning record every single week. I think Jake and Josh both had
2
3
weeks
weeks.
with a winning record. 2 weeks.
2. Count them up. 2.
8-7 last week. He barely cleared it. He cleared it on the last 2 games of the slate.
Let's go.
But let the facts show. And he's had 3
Yeah,
weeks,
sorry.
4 weeks at 500. No, 6 weeks at 500. Wow.
I'm a 500 shooter.
So don't put too much disrespect on P's name.
Yeah, sorry for that straight. I just had to point it out. It's crazy.
Yeah, I'll run through the records, I guess, quick. Connor's still in the lead, 92-45. I'm at 86-51. Josh is 85-52. We got Hefe at 75-62. And P is 71-66, 4 games back on Hefe for the beer mile. But, I mean, we got a lot of football left to play, boys. There's still 7 more weeks of regular season. We got 4 weeks of playoffs. There's a lot of ball to be played, a lot of picks to be made, a lot of blunders possibly to be made. For either Connor to squander this big lead or P to get back out of the beer mile race. Should be
Yes, sir.
should be fun to watch. But love you guys. Thanks for watching the pod. If you're not subbed already, please sub. Tell your friends. If go steal your mom's phone. Go steal your dad's phone. Make them a YouTube account real quick. Hit that sub button. Let's scam these numbers a little bit. Let's get some respect on this pod's name, and we'll keep growing. And we like doing it, so it's fun. Always a pleasure.
We don't talk about it on the podcast too much, but we do make locks of the week every week, and that's posted on our Twitter.
Yes, follow the TikTok, follow the Twitter. And we appreciate you guys, and we will see you next week. Peace.